Get your filthy hands off my property, Darius! The roar tore through Maple Ridge like an explosion. Victor Crane, the ruthless billionaire who practically owned the entire hill, stormed down the marble steps of his mansion with the confidence of a man who believed everyone around him existed to be stepped on. Before Darius could react, Victor kicked a full bucket of soapy water at him. It slammed into his chest, splashing across his clothes and knocking the brush from his grip. "You deaf or just stupid?" Victor shouted. "I said one warning. One. But you people love testing boundaries you can't afford." Two security guards smirked. Another raised his phone to record. Beside Darius, a scarred black and white stray with alert amber eyes stepped forward. Thin, battered, but fearless. The dog locked onto Victor like he recognized a threat. Victor sneered. "And what is that mangy accident supposed to be? A pet? Looks like the city dump threw up and followed you here." The guards burst into laughter. Victor jabbed a finger dangerously close to the dog's face. "Get that diseased creature off my driveway. If it so much as breathes on my cars, I'll have animal control put it down." Darius clenched his jaw. The dog growled low, steady, unafraid. Victor leaned in, venom dripping from every word. "You know what's funny, Darius? That mud is the only thing in this city uglier and more worthless than you." The air tightened. Victor pushed even closer, whispering like he wanted the words to burn. "I hope it bites me. Please. Then I can sue you into nothing. I will erase your entire existence in a single lawsuit." The dog lunged, teeth flashing. A guard pulled a taser. Victor didn't move an inch. He smirked. "Do it. I own the police. I own the courts. You think a stray dog and a broke boy scare me?" Darius grabbed the dog's collar, breathing hard. Victor stepped back with a satisfied smile. "Now, clean the car, and don't scratch the paint with your poverty." He turned and walked toward his luxurious triple garage. But then something shifted. The dog stopped growling. His ears shot up. His body stiffened. He stared directly at the garage Victor just entered, like something inside had triggered him. Then he sprinted. Fast. The dog bolted across the driveway and slid under the garage door just as it lowered. Darius shouted, "Hey, no, come back." But it was too late. A crash thundered from inside. Metal hitting concrete. Something falling. Victor's furious scream erupted. "Who let that animal in here? Get that mutt out now." Guard sprinted. Darius froze. Because the dog wasn't barking. He was howling. Not in fear. Not in pain. In warning. A sharp, escalating siren-like howl that made Darius' skin crawl. Then, silence. A thick, impossible silence. Until Darius heard Victor hiss one chilling word. "Destroy it." The guards grabbed the side entrance. Darius took a step forward. Then a second word came through the door. A word Victor never intended anyone else to hear. "Now." Darius didn't wait for permission. The moment he heard Victor's second command, that cold, murderous "now," something tore through him. Fear, instinct, desperation. He sprinted toward the side entrance of the garage before the guards could react. "Hey, stop him," one shouted. But Darius was already there. He shoved the door open just enough to slip through. A guard grabbed his shirt, but the fabric ripped and Darius vanished inside. The door slammed shut behind him, and darkness swallowed everything. A single overhead bulb flickered, buzzing like an insect stuck in a trap. The garage smelled of gasoline, hot metal, and something else, something sharp and chemical like bleach mixed with smoke. "Boy," Victor's voice echoed somewhere deeper inside. "You just made a mistake you can't afford." But Darius wasn't listening. He was scanning, looking, because the dog, the skinny stray that had spent 2 weeks following him home from work, was nowhere in sight. "Boy," Victor snapped again. Footsteps, heavy, angry, coming closer. "You're interfering with things far above your pay grade." Darius moved slowly toward a row of covered luxury cars. Each one sat beneath a spotless white sheet that touched the floor. But one car cover wasn't aligned. Something had tugged it violently. Darius knelt. He lifted the cloth and froze. The front bumper of the car was crushed inward, deep, fresh impact damage. But that wasn't the shocking part. Wedged underneath the crumpled metal were shredded wires. Wires leading to small devices strapped beneath the car's undercarriage. Black devices. Rectangular. Wired. Taped. Explosives. Darius jerked back. Victor's voice suddenly came from directly behind him. That dog should have died when I tried this the first time. Darius spun. Victor stood there breathing hard, face flushed with rage, suit jacket hanging open, tie crooked like he'd been in a struggle. I knew it, Victor growled. I knew that Mutt was sniffing around what wasn't meant to be found. Darius backed away, heart pounding. You're rigging cars with bombs? Victor laughed, a sick crack sound. You really think a man becomes a billionaire with clean hands? Do you know how much money my enemies cost me? How many lowlifes want me gone? He tapped the crushed bumper with his shoe. These cars were bait. Insurance. A message. And that stupid mutt just ruined months of planning. Darius stared at him, horrified. You're insane. Victor stepped close enough to grab Darius' collar. No, I'm untouchable. He shoved Darius backward hard. Darius stumbled into a rolling tool cabinet, nearly knocking it over. Victor raised his hand to snap at the guards outside. But before he could, a growl rose in the shadows. Deep, low, not the dog's usual warning growl. A primal one. Victor froze. The dog stepped out from beneath another car. Fur bristling, teeth bared, eyes blazing with a fury Darius had never seen before. His entire body shook with rage. Victor smirked. Oh, you came back? Good. I could deal with both of you at once. He reached behind him, pulled out a metal pry bar. Darius tensed. Victor lifted the bar, the metal glinting under the bulb. This ends now. But the dog didn't move backward. He stepped forward, deliberate, fearless, defiant. Victor swung the bar. Darius dove. The dog lunged, and the entire garage exploded into chaos. Metal clashed. Tools crashed. A car alarm blared. Victor shouted. Darius grabbed the billionaire's arm, trying to wrench the bar away. The dog clamped onto Victor's sleeve. Victor kicked the dog off and swung again. You won't stop me. Victor screamed. The next swing was aimed at Darius' head. Darius ducked, barely. The bar slammed into a toolbox, sparks shooting across the wall. The dog leaped again, straight for Victor's throat. Victor twisted. The pry bar flew out of his grip. It hit the concrete and slid all the way under the car rigged with explosives. There was a soft click. A blinking red light turned yellow. Victor's eyes widened. No. The device under the car beeped once. A long, slow, vibrating beep. Then the timer suddenly activated. 00:10, 00:09, 00:08. Run! Darius screamed. Moo! Darius grabbed the dog with one arm and sprinted, boots skidding across the slick concrete floor as the timer ticked down behind him. 00:07, 00:06, 00:05. Victor scrambled toward the opposite exit, screaming at the top of his lungs. Open the door. Open it now. The guards panicked. One slammed the emergency button, another dropped his radio, another tripped over a toolbox. The entire garage shook with rising tension. Darius reached the side door just as the dog twisted in his arms, barking wildly, not at the bomb, but at something on the far wall. A red blinking light. A security camera. The dog barked again, harder this time, claws scratching at Darius' arm. What? What are you trying to show me? Darius gasped. 00:04, 00:03. He didn't have time. He shoved through the side door. An explosion thundered behind him. The shockwave tossed him forward, slamming him into the asphalt outside. The dog flew from his arms, rolling across the pavement before scrambling back to his feet. Flames shot out of the garage windows. Smoke roared up the walls. Victor's precious vehicles melted into twisted metal. The guard screamed for fire extinguishers. Victor fell to his knees, clutching his head in horror. My garage. My cars. Do you know how much those cost? But then he stopped. Slowly, painfully, he turned toward Darius. His face went from horror to suspicion to something darker. You, Victor whispered. You did this. Darius staggered to his feet. What? You tried to kill me. Victor stood up, trembling with rage and humiliation. "You sabotaged my garage. You brought that mutt to destroy my property. You think anyone will believe you over me?" He pointed at the dog. "And I'm ending this right now." He snapped at his guards. "Grab the boy and put that dog down." The guards moved instantly. Darius backed away, heart slamming like a drum line in his chest. The dog moved in front of him, crouched, growling so loudly it echoed off the burning garage. A guard pulled his taser. Another raised a baton. Another reached for a tranquilizer gun. Victor crossed his arms. "This is over." But then, the dog barked again. And this time, he didn't bark at the guards, or at Victor, or at Darius. He barked at the burning garage, at the windows, at the cameras mounted above them. Darius followed his gaze, and his blood ran cold. The firelight reflected off something on the camera lens. A sticker, a logo, a company name, Crane Private Surveillance, internal recording. Darius whispered, "Wait, these cameras were recording." Victor's eyes widened for half a second, the first sign of fear. "Shut up," Victor snapped. The dog barked even harder, pushing Darius toward the camera, as if insisting he look again. The pieces clicked, every explosive strapped under every car, every threat, every insult. The dog breaking into the garage, Victor attacking both of them, the bomb detonating. All of IT was captured on Victor Crane's own security system. Victor lunged forward. "No, no, you stay away from that wall." A guard blocked Darius' path. Another grabbed his wrist. The dog leaped, teeth sinking into the guard's pant leg, ripping him off Darius with raw force. Darius tore away and sprinted toward the garage wall. Victor screamed, "Stop him. If he touches that camera, I'll ruin every one of you." Darius ran harder. The dog bolted beside him. A guard tackled Darius before he reached the wall. The dog jumped onto the guard's back. Another guard slammed the dog away. Victor sprinted toward the burning garage, waving his arms, shouting orders through the rising smoke. "Where's the footage backup? Find it. Delete everything." Darius clawed his way forward inch by inch. But the camera, now dripping with melting plastic, was hanging loose, barely attached. One more second. The entire camera mount snapped off the wall, fell through the flames, and landed somewhere inside the burning garage. Victor screamed in triumph. "It's gone." Darius stared in disbelief. The only proof, the only thing that could save him, had just vanished into the fire. Victor pointed at him like a judge delivering a death sentence. "You're done, boy. I own this hill. I own the story. And I own you." But then, the dog's ears perked up. He turned slowly toward the bushes behind the garage, toward a faint blinking light. A second camera, a hidden one, not melting, not burning, not destroyed, still recording. Darius' eyes widened. Victor noticed his gaze. "No, no, no, no." The dog began running toward the bushes. Victor screamed, "Stop that dog." The moment Victor screamed, "Stop that dog," the entire hill erupted into chaos. Two guards sprinted toward the bushes where the hidden camera blinked faintly through the leaves. The dog burst forward, cutting across the lawn like a bullet, dirt kicking up behind his paws. "Don't let that mutt near it," Victor roared. Darius ran after the dog, lungs burning, legs pumping so hard he felt the ground shaking beneath him. But the guards were closer, faster. One guard dove. The dog leaped over him. A perfect jump. High, sharp, desperate. He landed on the slope behind the garage and sprinted toward the hidden camera mounted on a wooden post camouflaged with vines. Victor's voice cracked. "If that camera survived, you're all finished." Darius didn't need it explained. If that camera caught a different angle of the bombs. Victor's threats. The attack. The explosion. Then Victor Crane, billionaire king of Maple Ridge, wouldn't just be embarrassed. He'd be exposed. Publicly. Legally. Completely. The guards reached the base of the hill and grabbed for the dog again. He dodged left. Dodged right. Slid under a railing. But one guard finally lunged and caught his back leg. The dog yelped, a sharp, painful sound. "No!" Darius shouted, sprinting faster. The guard yanked the dog back hard, slamming him against the fence. The dog twisted, snapping at the guard's sleeve, teeth ripping through fabric, but not skin. "Hold him still," another guard yelled. Victor stumbled across the grass, gasping dramatically like he was on a movie set. His suit was dirty, hair wild, smoke still clinging to his clothes. He pointed at Darius, furious. "You think this changes anything? You think a second camera saves you? You have no idea who I am." He shoved the guard aside and approached Darius directly. "I own judges. I own police chiefs. I own the news. I own everything." Darius kept running. Victor matched him step for step, screaming like a man losing his empire brick by brick. "I will bury you. I will bury that dog. I will buy your entire neighborhood and bulldoze it in one day." Darius reached the hill. Victor grabbed his arm. Darius shoved him off. Victor stumbled, fell, and rolled down the slope before catching himself on a bush. Rage twisted his face. "You're finished." And then Victor did something new, something colder than insults, something more dangerous than violence. He straightened his jacket, fixed his hair, composed himself, and put on a calculated billionaire smile. "Let's talk," he said, voice suddenly calm. Darius froze. Victor nodded to his guards. "Let the mud up." The guards hesitated. Victor's eyes sharpened. "Let him up." They released the dog. He limped toward Darius immediately, eyes on Victor. Victor took a folded document from inside his jacket. A contract, a thick one. He tossed it at Darius' feet. "This is a confidentiality and liability agreement," Victor said coolly. "You sign this, and I make you disappear." Darius clenched his fists. "You said you'd bury me anyway." Victor smiled. "I mean disappear into comfort, into money, into a future your mother only dreams about. We can handle things like men, not animals." The dog growled so loudly Victor paused mid-sentence. "You don't want this fight," Victor continued. "You want the money. Everyone does." He lifted his chin. "I'll give you $200,000. Today. Cash. For your silence." The dog barked once, a deep warning. Victor rolled his eyes. "Shut up, mutt." Darius didn't bend down for the paper. He didn't blink. He stared into Victor's smug, polished, billionaire face, and understood something for the first time. Victor wasn't offering a deal. He was offering a threat wrapped in money. Darius took a slow breath. "No amount of money is worth letting you get away with this." Victor's smile vanished. He snapped his fingers. A guard raised a gun. Darius stepped in front of the dog without thinking, arms spread. Victor's voice dropped to a whisper. "You sign that contract, or I take everything you love." The dog suddenly stiffened, not from the weapon, but from something behind Victor. He growled, backed up one step, whimpered, then barked sharply at the bushes. Darius turned. The blinking light on the hidden camera was no longer blinking. It was solid red, recording, actively, zooming. Someone was controlling it remotely. Victor noticed. His face drained of color. No. Who accessed that feed?" The dog barked again. This time, not at the camera, at a figure moving behind it. A silhouette. Someone watching. Filming. Someone Victor Crane definitely did not expect. The silhouette stepped forward just enough for the red camera light to reflect off something metallic in their hand. A phone. A phone pointed directly at Victor Crane. Victor froze completely. "Who is that?" he demanded, voice cracking. "Show yourself." The figure didn't step closer. They didn't speak. They only lifted the phone higher, making sure the recording icon was visible. Victor's carefully constructed billionaire confidence split like glass. "Turn that off," he said softly. No response. "Turn it OFF," he screamed, voice echoing across the hill. Darius moved slightly in front of the dog, muscles tight, adrenaline tearing through him. He didn't know who the silhouette was, a neighbor, a jogger, someone walking their dog. But whoever it was, they were now the most dangerous person on Maple Ridge. Victor snapped at his guards. "Get that phone." But the dog exploded forward, blocking their path with a thunderous growl that made all three guards stumble back. He planted his paws in the dirt, shoulders broad, teeth bared, eyes burning. He wouldn't move. No matter how loud the guards yelled, no matter how close they stepped. It wasn't courage. It was conviction. He refused to let Victor get anywhere near that recording. Victor snarled. This is ridiculous. It's a stray. Shoot it already. A guard hesitated. That hesitation saved everybody. Because suddenly, the silhouette stepped fully into view. It was a woman. Tall. Serious. Hair in a tight ponytail. Badge around her neck. An off-duty federal investigator. She raised her voice, calm but heavy with authority. Nobody moves. Victor's face melted. No, no, no. What are you doing here? She didn't answer him. She pointed her phone at the burning garage, still recording. I heard the explosion halfway down the ridge, she said. And then I heard screaming. And now I'm hearing threats. You want to explain? Victor threw his arms up. This boy and his mutt attacked me. They're criminals. The investigator turned the phone toward Darius. Is that true? Darius shook his head. He tried to kill us. Look under the car. There were lies. Victor shouted over him. He's lying. He broke into my garage. A guard whispered, Sir, we should stop shouting. The camera. Victor slapped him, right in front of everyone. The investigator raised an eyebrow. Assaulting your own security? Smart. Victor pointed at her phone. Stop recording and hand that over. Right now. I'll buy it from you. Name your price. The investigator's face hardened. Are you attempting to bribe a federal agent? The dog barked sharply. Victor froze. Then he smiled. A slow, trembling smile, full of panic and ego mashed together. You think you can walk on a MY property and accuse me of? She cut him off. I've already sent the footage to a secure cloud backup. You can't erase it. Victor stumbled backward as if she'd slapped him with the truth. What did you just say? You're under investigation now, she said. You just don't know for what yet. Victor's breathing turned erratic. I'm a billionaire. You don't do this to me. But she turned again to Darius. What did the dog see? Darius hesitated. He didn't know whether to trust her. The dog didn't. He limped forward and placed himself between Darius and the investigator, growling. Protective. Suspicious. The investigator crouched slowly. I'm not your enemy, she said softly. I need to know what you saw in that garage. The dog didn't blink, didn't lower his guard. He only turned his head toward the burning garage, toward the ruined bumper, toward the hidden camera, toward the crushed wires, toward where the device had been. The investigator followed his gaze. Explosives, she whispered. Victor's guards swallowed hard. Victor's eyes shook. No, stop. You don't understand. He took a step toward them. The dog snapped. Victor jumped back. The investigator straightened. You just detonated your own evidence. But it's not gone. The angle from the hidden camera captured everything. Victor's entire empire, every lie, every ounce of power, was unraveling right there in front of him. He was losing control. He knew it. His guards knew it. Darius knew it. The dog knew it. Victor spun toward his house. I need my servers, my backups, my lawyers. Move. He made it 3 steps before the dog lunged forward again, blocking his path. Not attacking. Preventing, refusing to let Victor escape, refusing to let evil walk into safety. Victor stared down at the dog, shaking violently. You think you can stop me? He whispered. You think a stray mutt can ruin Victor Crane? The dog growled, louder than ever before. Darius stepped forward. You're not dealing with just a dog, he said. You're dealing with the truth. Victor's face twisted with hate. You think this is over? He reached into his jacket, pulled something out. A small black remote. He pressed the button. 2 more garage doors across the estate began to open. Slowly. Heavy mechanics lifting metal. Inside, rows of identical luxury cars. Each one with something strapped underneath. Each one wired. Each one ready. Darius' heart collapsed into his stomach. The investigator gasped. Oh my God, there are more. The dog's fur bristled. He stepped back, whimpering for the first time. Then he barked, a sharp, terrified bark, because under the garage lights, the red digital timers began to wake up, one by one. 00:30, 00:29, 00:28. Victor smiled like a monster reborn. You want justice? He hissed. Come and get it before the whole hill blows up. The timers blinked faster. The lights in Victor's second and third garages reflected off the metal chassis of a dozen luxury cars. each one strapped with explosives like a private arsenal waiting to murder the entire hill. 00:26. 00:25. The federal investigator inhaled sharply. Darius, we need to move. Now. But the dog didn't move. He stepped forward, closer to the detonator range, closer to the billionaire who held everyone's fate in a shaking hand. Victor pointed the remote at the dog. You take one more step, Mutt, and the hill goes first, then the next block, then the whole city. Darius shouted, Why? Why are you doing this? Victor laughed, a raw, broken cackle that sounded like his sanity had snapped under the pressure. No one gets to expose me. No stray dog. No boy. No federal agent. No one. The investigator pulled out her phone. Not to call anyone. To aim the camera. Straight at Victor. Victor froze mid-rant. His voice faltered. You're filming me? She nodded, calm but dangerous. And live streaming to 3 agencies. Darius' heart skipped. Victor's rage finally cracked into fear. You wouldn't dare. She spoke quietly. Try me. Victor's hand trembled around the detonator. Sweat poured down his forehead. He pointed the remote at the row of ticking cars. Turn it off, he screamed. Turn it off, or I swear. But the investigator didn't lower the phone. She didn't blink. You're done, Crane. This is your whole empire collapsing, Liv. Victor screamed like an animal and lunged forward. But the dog moved first. A blur of black and white first slammed into Victor's legs, knocking him off balance. The remote flew from his hand, sliding across the asphalt. The investigator dove for it. A guard tackled her. Darius sprinted. Another guard grabbed him. The dog lunged at the guard's arm, tearing fabric and forcing him to release Darius. Darius dove onto the pavement, fingers clawing toward the detonator. Victor roared, scrambling after it. The investigator kicked the guard off her and reached 2. 3 hands. 1 device. Seconds ticking away. 00:13. 00:12. Victor screamed and shoved Darius's face into the pavement. You don't get to win. You're nothing. You always were nothing. The dog launched himself onto Victor's back, teeth sinking deep into his shoulder. Victor howled. The remote flew loose, spinning, sliding, straight toward the burning remains of the first garage. No, Victor shrieked. Darius didn't think, didn't breathe, didn't hesitate. He ran. He sprinted so hard his lungs burned and spots flashed in his vision. The remote slid closer to the fire. Closer, closer. Heat blasted his face. Smoke stung his eyes. He dove forward. At the last possible second, he grabbed it. He rolled across the pavement, coughing violently. Behind him, Victor roared, Don't press anything. You don't know what you're. Darius looked down at the remote. 3 buttons. 2 blinking red. 1 blinking yellow. The timers on the cars blinked faster. 00:07. 00:06. 00:05. The dog stood between Darius and Victor, fur raised, body shaking, growled deep enough to crack stone. Darius looked at the investigator. Which button stops it? She shouted, The yellow one. Victor screamed over her. No, you'll kill us all. Darius pressed it. A long, piercing beep filled the air. The timers flickered, then froze. 0:03. The entire hill went silent. Completely silent. Not even the wind dared move. Victor stared at the frozen numbers, face stretched in terror. No. No, 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 no. You idiot. Do you know what you just stopped? The investigator stood up, breathing hard. Yes, she said. A mass murder attempt. Victor's jaw fell open. She pointed at him sharply. You're under arrest. Victor staggered backward like a collapsing pillar. You can't arrest me. I'm Victor Crane. I'm a billionaire. I own. His voice stopped because the dog stepped forward, slowly, powerfully, deliberately, and sat right in front of him, blocking his path, guarding the truth. Victor broke, right there in front of everyone. He dropped to his knees, hands shaking, staring at the dog that refused to run, refused to hide, refused to let him win. The investigator cuffed him. Victor screamed, kicked, begged, threatened, collapsed, and the dog didn't move. He watched him, eyes cold, silent, unblinking, exactly the way justice should. But then, the dog staggered, just a little, and Darius saw it. Blood on the dog's paw, a trail of drops leading back to the burning garage. His chest tightened. No, 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 boy, come here. The dog wobbled and collapsed into Darius's arms. Hey, hey, stay with me. You did it. You stopped him. Stay with me. The investigator knelt beside them, face turning serious. He needs medical help right now. Victor laughed weakly through the pain. You'll never find what he saw in the garage. The investigator glared at him. We don't need the garage. She pointed at the hidden camera in the bushes. Because that one was only the backup. Darius blinked. What do you mean backup? The investigator slowly turned her phone around. A map appeared. A map showing all Victor's connected security cameras. One icon was blinking. Bright. Green. Alive. The dog's ears twitched. Then Darius realized. The dog hadn't been barking at random earlier. He'd been guiding them. To each camera. To each angle. To each truth. The investigator whispered. The real footage. The one showing everything. Is being uploaded right now. Darius looked up. But before he could ask where, the investigator finished her sentence. It's going straight to the news. Victor screamed as the guards dragged him away. Darius held the dog tight. But then the investigator's phone buzzed. She checked it. Her eyes widened. She looked at Darius. You're not going to believe who just published the footage. Darius swallowed hard. Who? The investigator exhaled. A national outlet. She turned the screen toward him, and the headline read, Billionaire Victor Crane exposed by unknown dog in explosive scandal. Darius blinked. The dog weakly wagged his tail. But then, his eyes slowly closed. Darius held the dog, now finally named Justice, as paramedics lifted him onto the stretcher. His fur was damp with blood, but his eyes were open, watching Darius, trusting him in a way no human ever had. Stay with me, okay? Darius whispered, running a trembling hand down the dog's bandaged side. You're strong, stronger than any of us. Justice blinked once, slow, steady, as if saying, I'm not done yet. Paramedics wheeled him into the ambulance. Darius climbed in right behind them. Behind him, the world he'd known only hours ago was collapsing in smoke, fire, and screaming sirens. Police swarmed Maple Ridge. Firefighters blasted the burning garages with hoses. Agents were already tearing through Victor Crane's house. And Victor himself, once the untouchable billionaire who terrorized everyone beneath him, now lay face down on the pavement, hands cuffed behind his back, his expensive suit soaked in sweat and humiliation. He screamed desperately as federal agents dragged him toward a waiting vehicle. You can't do this. I own this city. I will buy the law. I will buy the courts. I will destroy all of you. The investigator spoke calmly beside him. It's over, Crane. Victor thrashed violently. No, it isn't. You don't know who you're dealing with. But the investigator leaned close to him and whispered, Everyone does now. She tapped her phone screen, still live streaming. Victor froze. Slowly, painfully, the truth sank into him. Millions were watching. Every threat, every confession, every device, every attempt to destroy evidence. His downfall was happening live. The cruiser door slammed shut, and for the first time in his life, Victor Crane had no one left to intimidate. At the hospital, hours later, Darius sat beside Justice's bed. Machines beeped softly. A bandage wrapped around the dog's torso, and 4-line ran into his leg. But his breathing was steady now. You're incredible, Darius whispered, brushing his fingers gently through the dog's fur. You didn't run. You didn't hide. You fought for the truth when nobody else would. Justice lifted his head slightly and pressed his nose against Darius's palm. A soft, grateful gesture. The investigator stepped into the room quietly, holding a folder. Darius, she said, the world knows everything now. She handed him the folder. Inside were printed news articles already published. Billionaire Victor Crane exposed an explosive crime plot. Unknown dog and local workers save entire neighborhood. Heroic dog leads authorities to hidden evidence. Darius exhaled shakily. I didn't expect any of this. The investigator smiled. Most heroes don't. Justice barked once, weak but proud. She knelt beside the dog. He saved your life. He saved this city. He exposed a monster. Dogs like him, they only appear once in a lifetime. Darius nodded, eyes glistening. He's family now. Whatever happens next, we're together. Justice gently wagged his tail. The investigator stood. One more thing. Crane's entire empire? It's collapsing. Property seized. Accounts frozen. His associates are being interrogated. And thanks to Justice. She pointed to the dog with genuine admiration. We had every angle of his crimes. Justice let out a soft, triumphant huff. Darius laughed through tears. You really are Justice. The investigator placed a hand on Darius's shoulder. You know, people are calling this the Maple Ridge miracle. They want interviews. They want a statement from you. Darius shook his head. Let them talk. I just want him to get better. The investigator nodded. That's loyalty. That's what saved you both. Later that evening, the national broadcast replayed the entire ordeal. Millions watched the bravery of a dog no one wanted and a young man the billionaire tried to crush. And across the country, they talked about it, shared it, cried over it, learned from it. Justice lay with his head in Darius's lap, peaceful at last. Darius looked into the dog's eyes and whispered, You didn't just save me, you saved the truth. Justice nudged his hand, and the world, watching from living rooms, phones, and screens, felt something real. If you were in Darius's shoes, would you have stood up to a billionaire? Even when the cost could have been everything you had? Would you have fought for the truth? Tell us in the comments, what would you have done? Because sometimes the bravest voices don't come from the powerful. They come from the honest, the loyal, the ones who refuse to run. Justice isn't about wealth or fear. It's about courage, the courage to stand when standing hurts. If you enjoyed this story, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any cinematic story from Black Justice Tales.